Dear DBV team, I am a 16-year-old and I have some questions for you. In my country, I have not always understood how to speak out. I have seen people in my country speak out and be shut down. And I have heard my friends ask questions about the government because we don't know how to speak out. So my question for you all is, how do I find a voice in my government? I'm not old enough to vote in my country, and even if I could vote, I don't really know how voting works. Can you help me understand how voting works? Plus, voting is only every few years here, so my one vote wouldn't do a lot. I'm sure there are other things I can do outside of voting, but I don't know. I also have social media. Is there a way that I can utilize it? Because right now it feels like I just see a lot of people blaming each other for what's going on in my country instead of finding ways to fix it. Thank you so much for the help, and I hope to hear from you soon.
In such a political world, democracy, authoritarianism, and other systems of government are becoming widely discussed in our society. While most countries are democratic in theory, or at least rooted in fairness, as youth, we might wonder what democracy could mean when you're not old enough to vote or struggling to find a voice, but want to make a positive change. Welcome to DBV by A.M.A.N, a youth-led podcast about democracy beyond voting and being civically engaged. For our first episode, let's define what democracy is.
Democracy, meaning people, rule from the Greek, is a system of government in which laws, policies, leadership, and major undertakings of a state or other policies are directly or indirectly decided by the people. Basically, democracy is a system of government where power belongs to the people, but the extent of people being in charge of the governments depends on a certain type of democracy. If citizens vote directly on policies and laws, it's direct democracy. A more common type is representative democracy, where we choose our leader. And participatory democracy is when active, direct citizen involvement in daily politics and civil society is encouraged. A major aspect of democracy is elections. The way voting works or whether voting exists depends on the context we live in. Some governments are unitary and therefore more centralized than federative countries. Some governments may have monarchy or theocracy as a system. That's why before asking how does voting work, we should ask what country am I living in?
Each country may have different age restrictions for voting rights, and some voting systems may not allow voting online. Some voting systems may be unfair and corrupted even if the government is democratic in theory. The voting process also depends on who and what you're voting for, whether it's a president, a party members, the new constitutions, laws, policies, local mayors, and so on. The length of one term where those bodies rule will usually last for several years. For example, in the US, the president is chosen every 4 years with the right to re-elect, while in Kazakhstan, the single term lasts for 7 years.
Democracy is not only about voting, like free speech, transparency, opposition bodies existing, active civic engagement also plays a huge role. Like whether a country allows people to criticize their system elections or just trials are transparent and fair. Opposition parties and independent journalists just are not threatened. The population is educated enough to vote defines how democratic the government is. And listen to our next episode where we will be sharing our own content, like how does voting work? Is youth politically active? Like is society polarized? And does free speech exist in the US, India, Russia, and Kazakhstan?